Good morning, everybody. I feel like it's been a long time since I've just sort of had a video where I sit and chat with you about something, but maybe that's also just because time has ceased to exist. Today, what I wanted to talk about actually is art and value. I I'm talking about art sort of broadly. Obviously, the thing that I'm most familiar with in terms of the artistic landscape is theater and acting because I've trained for 3 years in an acting conservatory and I've been acting since I was 8 years old. So I am coming from that sort of frame of reference, although the art form that I'm going to end up talking about most today is dance. So while I was at drama school, I had this teacher who was obsessed with this question of what makes a good actor. And we would do these exercises and learn these techniques. And then after every class, he would stand in front of us and be like, how does this make you a better actor? And I was always really interested in that question because obviously, when you go to school, you're going to learn and to grow and to become better, I guess. But I also had a lot of thoughts of who decides what good art is? What does it mean to be a good artist? And what sort of rubric are we all measuring our art against? I always thought it was interesting that for me, it was very clear that his definition of success was fame and financial success and being in blockbuster films and winning a BAFTA. And that's not to say that there's anything wrong with that definition of success, but I think for me, I always wanted to push back against the notion that being a famous artist or a rich artist or winning a BAFTA, that any of those things meant that you were or weren't good. Because obviously you can be good without those things just as easily as you can be good with them. And further to that, I would always sit there who cares if it's good or bad? Does it matter if our art is good or not? When is it okay for art to be just about the making of it rather than it being palatable for someone else's consumption? I guess over the course of my artistic career, I've had the immense good fortune to work with a lot of people who are not professional actors, but who just love to act or love to write or love to sing. And honestly, working with those people oftentimes is an immensely rewarding experience, and oftentimes more rewarding than working in a professional artistic sphere, because oftentimes when you're working in a profession, there's a part of it that is capitalistic. You need to make money, you need to be successful, you want people to come see your show, and those are all very real and very important things. But if you're just in a room making art with people who want to be there, the only reason you're all there is because you want to be, because you've made the decision to be there, and you're not getting anything from it besides the experience of creating together. So that kind of leads me to the thing that I want to talk about, which is just personal artistic practice. And so I've got this book, Man Without a Country, which I read when I was in high school. I'm also a page folder, so I've folded down a lot of pages in this. Time for a dramatic reading. The arts are not a way to make a living. They are a very human way of making life more bearable. Practicing an art, no matter how well or badly, is a way to make your soul grow, for heaven's sake. Sing in the shower, dance to the radio, tell stories, write a poem to a friend, even a lousy poem. Do it as well as you possibly can. You will get an enormous reward. You will have created something. And now I just wanted to do a little bit of a personal story time with this, and I wanted to talk about dance. I put on a leotard because I said to myself, Elena, look, oh my gosh. Inappropriate, the tag is out. That's like, that's the nicest thing I can think about ballet, is that I got to wear cool costumes and cool leotards. I actually started taking dance classes when I was really young. I was one of those little kids in the combination ballet, tap, jazz class things, and I hated it. I would cry literally straight through every class if my mom left the room. So nothing has changed in my life. I cried, but I was really quite a good dancer when I was young, and so they moved me up into the higher levels of ballet. And so I guess there's a moment of me somehow being identified as good, I guess technically compared to other kids who were labeled not so good at age 4. I don't understand that. And anyway, it didn't really come to anything because I showed up to the first class of this high level kiddie ballet class in a purple leotard, rainbow striped tights, and a yellow tutu. And the teacher just kind of like looked at me and she just said, "You will come back next class in a black leotard, pink tights, and pink shoes, or you will not dance." And I didn't say anything then, I don't think, and I didn't cry. But I do remember I left that class and I just told my mom, "That's it. I'm done." And I legitimately quit dance at that moment. So here are the things about dancing that I love. When I went to Williams College, I ended up joining the Contra Dance Society, which if you've never done contra dance, it's partner dancing where they call out the dance moves while you go. And you sort of swap partners and move down the line, and it's super social. Another thing that I experienced with dance that I really, really loved is my 3rd year at Guildhall. I got really into BTS, the K-pop group, sort of out of nowhere, but they teach classes where you can learn the choreography to like the BTS songs. And while I was in London, the Boy with Love video had just come out. And actually this was at the same time when I was working on that musical where the choreographer was like, "Just walk in a circle. It's not that hard." So at the same time I was miserably failing at dancing in a professional production, I ended up going to this series of classes where I learned how to do the dance to Boy with Love by BTS. And I had an amazing time. I think I did okay, to be honest. It was really funny. The guy who ran the classes was so lovely and I really enjoyed him. And he was so just like kind to us. And I remember I used to go and stand in the back row and he would do that dance class thing where he'd be like, "Okay, now everyone switch lines." And then you could like come to the front and see better. But I was so shy about my dancing whenever he said switch lines. If I was in the back, I would just go this way. So I would still be in the back, but like on the other side of the room. And I would be like, "No one saw me." But he definitely knew. He definitely saw me. And the last experience with dance that I want to talk about is while I was studying at Guildhall, they do this program where we went to Italy for a summer and studied in San Miniato and took different classes. And I took an incredible workshop called the Body Politic, which was about understanding the politics of your body in space as an artist. And we did this sort of codified movement system with our movement instructor, Francesco, where we did a lot of pushing and pulling, tirare, spingere, and we did these gestures, which were part of an acting system by this guy whose name is escaping me, but I've got it written down. I wrote down everything I learned there because it was unbelievable. And during one of our last classes, we were doing this exercise where we were pushing and pulling in the space in partners and doing these gestures while music was just playing. And I ended up in the space with this guy from a French school, and we were working as partners. And I suddenly realized that our teacher had sort of moved everyone down to the end of the room, so they were watching just the two of us in the space. I guess people in art sometimes talk about like a flow state, or sort of experiencing like a different level of energy. And I have experienced that as an actor. I don't often experience it as a mover. I think because I'm sometimes an awkward mover and I feel quite conscious about my body. But in this moment, I did not feel that way. I have never felt so free in my body. And I just remember it felt like it went on forever and for no time. And I just remember this one moment I was just exhausted and I just like cried out while I was moving, and I've never felt that way. And it gave me something. There was no inherent value to that. There was no one around to decide if it was good or bad besides us. But it's one of the most valuable things that's ever happened to me. And if I had limited myself and been like, oh, don't go to that class, don't get up in this space for that exercise, you're not a dancer, let someone who dances do it, I think I would have been robbing myself of something to sort of limit myself by my own estimation of how good I am. There are so many things that are barring access to the arts. Please don't let your own estimation of worth and value in arts be one of them, because I promise you, they are all constructs that have been created by capitalism and whiteness and privilege. Make art. Make your art, even if it's bad, do it as well as you possibly can. You will receive an enormous reward. You will have created something. You will have expressed something. Really what I'm doing now is I'm like avoiding putting up my dance recital for you to see because it is so embarrassing. Courage. That's my motto. Courage is my motto. Coraggio, courage. Hi everybody. So it is Elena from the future, bedtime edition. I just wanted to hop back on camera and say I completely forgot to record this when I was filming my video earlier. But this video is actually going to be the first video in a series of 3 that I'm going to do about art/theater and another topic. So this one obviously is about art and value. Next week's video, I'm going to talk about art and accessibility, probably specifically in drama schools. And for the 3rd week, I want to talk about art and kindness. Probably again with an emphasis on drama schools, just because that's where I've been most often for the last 3 years. Anyway, enjoy the rest of the video, which is probably just going to be me making a fool out of myself, dancing on a stage in front of many, many people. And stay well. I'll see you soon. Bye.